5 messages from the universe that will lead to your dreams, to you living the fulfilled life that you truly want to live. That's what we're talking about coming up next. Hi there, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace if you're new to the channel, where my mission is to help those who have discovered that there is more to themselves and more to life than they've been led to believe, to truly unearth and step into their co-creative power so that they can travel along the always unfolding path their heart has always naturally gravitated towards. And in this video, we're going to be going over some of the messages that you may have been receiving from the universe. Now, before we start, really quick, I want to mention that I have opened up one-on-one coaching for a few people, very limited spots, just due to time constraints. So if that is something you are interested in, there will be more information down below. But without further ado, let's move into what these messages are, starting with number 5. So number 5 is inspired content. You know, the universe, when you are very clear on what your dream is or which direction you want to move in, which is also important, make sure you're doing that, have an actual vision and image of what it is you truly desire. What is your dream? You know, what is it you even want? Make sure you're clear on that. But the universe will then start bringing things to you that are going to help you achieve that. For example, I had a dream of moving abroad and living in Thailand at one point in time. I am now living in that dream, by the way. This is what can happen, right, when you do this. But when I was doing that, I started getting all of these vlogs and information without really looking for it, being recommended to me on how to do it. Isn't that kind of funny, right? I wasn't really looking at too many travel vlogs, but it got me interested in doing it because all of them started showing up. All of these things on how to live in Thailand and do this in different places. People reached out to me who I'd never talked to before in my life and recommended different places I go to in Thailand. One person actually, again, never spoke to this person in my life, is now a friend of mine, reached out to me and said, hey, I heard you are moving to Thailand. I think you would really enjoy this place, gave me the place, and I've lived for over a year in that place. In fact, I'm in that place right now at this very moment. And so if you're finding inspired content, inspired things like that coming into your reality all of the time, this is the universe making things work, bringing you what you need in order to get to whatever it is you're trying to get to once you're clear on what that is. And so if you're finding that inspired content, maybe it's a teacher or certain teachings, maybe you're here, this is the inspired content for you, perhaps it could be. But when you find that's coming in time and time again, that is the universe leading you to the things you're going to need to get to where you're saying you want to get. Now, the big thing with that is don't ignore it. Stop ignoring those videos that are obviously coming up synchronistically and inspired. You know, don't ignore the advice in the videos if it resonates, whatever else it is, because again, the universe is literally bringing you that information, the books or whatever else it is, that to help you. Number 4 is to go inward. You know, one of the clearest messages the universe will give us that I found is to go inward. Because you have to remember that the outside world comes from the inner. It's always inner to outer. It's not outer to inner. So many people try and fix their circumstances and change everything and take like solid things and mold them into what they want them to be. And it doesn't work. It's futile because you cannot expect to use the external world to influence the inner, because it's not how it works. The inner world influences the external. That's when people change their thinking and then take action from that different level of thinking, their external eventually starts to shift due to the quantum to Newtonian transition point, which I've talked about before. If you don't know what that is, go take a look at the week of quantum alignment that we did a little bit ago. So ultimately going inward. Now, there are many things the universe will bring you, many messages, many different signs, many different things that can happen that will lead you to going inwardly. A lot of times the universe will even bring you kind of crappy circumstances outwardly until you eventually recognize that I need to go inwardly. I need to stop influencing the outside and thinking that I change everything through just the external. And so a lot of times this could be the universe takes something away from you. This could be that your circumstances aren't what you want them to be. And these are usually very clear messages from the universe that, look, this is only a reflection of what's going on in here. Go inwardly. Do the meditation. What's going on in your inner environment? Because whatever's happening there, that's why it looks like this out here. It's always the case. Always the case. You know, it's always a reflection of what's happening in this world in here. And so a lot of times, those things that kind of kick your ass on the external are a message from the universe to say, go in and go inside, go inwardly. And you'll, discover why this is all happening, but you'll also learn how to shift it. You'll also learn how to change it. If that last one resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up. That really does help it get out to more people. And also put in the affirmation, I am allowing the messages from the universe through. So I am allowing the messages from the universe to come through. And just by aligning to that, putting that down there gets you more engaged with the video, but it also helps you align with that, because when you allow the messages through, you allow them to come through without blocking them, that's when true change can start to happen, when that awareness is there. Anyway, without further ado, let's move on to the next one. So number 3 is kind of similar to what we just talked about, but it's what you're currently doing is obviously not working. And the only reason maybe you're doing it is because it's familiar, or because it gives you a certain level of something that isn't really that great, but it's something, it's all you know. And this could be a job, this could be, a person, this could be some level of addiction that you have. It could be an addiction to certainty, significance, or whatever else. But you kind of know it's just not for you. And again, the universe may be kicking your ass right now. You feel like crap. You energetically, maybe the more you are becoming energetically aware, because if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you're probably aware of energy. You probably are more, have a more heightened sense of energy. We all have this ability, by the way. Some people more than others, but we all have the ability to sense energy. We are energetic beings after all. And when you start doing this work, you start to kind of get a feel for what it is that obviously doesn't resonate with you and things that do. And so if you are just getting that sense that this doesn't resonate with me, this doesn't resonate with me, then it's time, a lot of times the universe will bring you again messages that it's time to let it go and move on into something that does. Now, I've given this example before, but a lot of people think to achieve their dreams or to achieve a fulfillment that they need to gain something. Now, there are things obviously you need to do, but a lot of people would accomplish and get so much more done, and just so much more transformation and change would happen by letting go of and transcending certain things. And that's what this one is about. Again, the universe really has a tendency of kicking your butt until you let go of certain things, because it's really just giving you the energetic match of continually involving yourself in whatever that thing is. And a lot of times, you're at your job and you hate it, and it's leading to all of just this energetic tightness and heaviness. And maybe the only reason you do it is because, well, I need it for the finances, I need it for this, or whatever justification it is. The universe will continually kick your butt until you finally realize, I need to transcend this job, I need to do something else, I need to take the leap of faith, or whatever else it is. And it's like an energetic anchor. And for a lot of us, it's just about removing the energetic anchors in our life that allow us to rise. Or if you think of yourself as a helium balloon, what does a helium balloon naturally do? It rises. But what if you put a sandbag on the bottom of it? What if you put little weights on the bottom of it? Well, then it's not going to rise. It's just going to be kind of up here, kind of like, I want to rise. I'm a helium balloon. I just want to do what I was built to do. I want to rise. But you've got all these things kind of weighing it down, all of these things that you've been doing that are clearly not working. Not if your goal is to continually move more into what you actually are, which is the helium balloon that's like, please let go. I want to go. I want to rise. I want to move into what I truly am, do what I was truly built to do, truly intended to do. And so by removing those things from your life, you start to naturally rise into what you truly are. Because again, there's nothing you have to do to be what you are. We can put on different identities. Identities are like Velcro. For a lot of people, it's like sticky glue. It's like really, really stuck on there. But when you treat the who you are as Velcro, and you can switch that up to what serves you, that's a good thing. But what you are never changes. What you are, no matter how much you try and justify or trick or mold or into something different, you can't not be what you are. A dog cannot not be a dog. For example, a whale cannot not be a whale. No matter if whatever clothes it tends to put on, or how it speaks to its whale friends, or pretends to be, or whatever else, at its core, it's still a whale. At your core, you are still a divine, infinite, co-creative being. And you can't stop being that. And when you remove the things that have helped you to forget that you are that, you naturally just fall back into it. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to grab onto all these things to remember and be like, okay, this thing will help me remember, and this thing. Typically, you just need to remove the things that are causing you to forget. So number 2 is an interesting one, because it's one that we all love to avoid. But there is a lot of truth in this one. And the universe will use this to guide you and to help you. And have you ever heard of the saying that if you fear something, you should move into it? If you fear something, you should move towards your fear. And there's a lot of truth in that. Now, not your primal fear, not the fear of I'm going to be eaten by a lion, so you're like, oh, I have to move into my fear. So you go take a trip to Africa or wherever lions exist, and you just go up to a pride of lions and go like, ha, I'm facing my fears, and then they eat you, and then, not so good. Not the best strategy. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a very real fear that's very natural and helps you to survive, and you should probably keep that one. Same with any other animal that could maul you to death and would eat you. However, most of our fears do not come from this place. 99.9% of our fears are irrational in nature. Fears where we think we're going to die because we let go of an identity. Fears where we think if we leave that job, we think of the worst possible scenario, right? But it's not the truth of the matter. Now, the fear of a bear coming in and, like you going up to a bear, maybe dressed in all of these different meats, thinking you'll be eaten, that's probably a very logical fear and one that you should fear. I don't know why that was the image that came up for me. You're really asking for it at that point, aren't you? But it's, when you move into fear, understanding that most of it is irrational, there's always growth on the other side. Again, they say that growth doesn't only exist outside your comfort zone. And it's very, very true. And so a lot of times you'll think of something, you'll be moving towards something and fear will come up. And a lot of times that is the message from the universe that yes, you need to do this. This is where your growth exists. This is where, when you do it, you're going to transcend it and see that you were always bigger than it. A great example that I love is parachuting. A lot of people, talk about the experience of parachuting and how there's so much fear for first-time people, even people who've done it before many times, although that fear starts to go away because they ultimately know they're okay. But what ends up happening, and I love this analogy because it's the most perfect analogy to leaping and transcending fear, is before you get and jump off the plane, there's so much fear. So much fear, even though there's such a, you're going to be fine. You have a parachute. You've seen people do it at this point, and everything's going to be okay. There's still all of this crazy amount of fear that comes up, right? And you're looking over the edge, and there's just a ton of fear. Fear, don't do it. Your mind comes in, please don't do it, blah, blah, blah. Your heart knows it's fine. Your heart's like, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. What an adventure this is going to be. But your brain comes in, your head comes in and brings up all this fear and, and then all these chemicals react and you're just so scared. But the experience that a lot of people talk about when they jump off a plane is they say all the fear comes up and then immediately goes away the second you jump off the plane. It dissipates, goes away, and changes into excitement, joy, and things of this nature. When you ultimately understand that at most levels fear is an illusion and you have experienced that, you free yourself up to do so much. And a lot of people haven't faced fear even in a small way, even in one or two ways. They haven't done anything for themselves, moved closer to their dreams, done anything that might be a little bit scary, but they know would be good for their growth. And when you experience this, especially in a big way, it just helps your life and helps you move closer to your dreams in ways you can't even foresee and imagine right now. And so a lot of times, what is it you're very scared of? Now, ultimately, I'm not saying, again, you should just conquer all your fears, or you don't want to do something, but you're kind of a little scared of it, so you go do it. But what is the thing when you think about it, you're like, I'd love to go do that. I want to go do this thing. Like, let's say I want to go do this thing, but I'm scared of, I don't know, like let's say you're scared of, let's say you want to be someone who helps a lot of people, but actually this is one, I'll give you one of mine. This is a great one, actually. I've always had stage fright. I've always been someone who's very scared to speak in front of people. It's kind of funny. Now I have a YouTube channel where I'm speaking in front of thousands of people, technically. But I used to have terrible stage fright, right? But when I went on this journey of saying, I want to help people discover what they are, I want to whatever, I obviously have to work with people. I obviously am going to work at times with a lot of people all at once. And so I have to transcend this fear to ultimately move from my heart into the thing I know that I'm being led to do. Now, I could do one of two things. I could embrace it, face the fear, and have that growth, allow that growth to happen, which is ultimately going to be good for me, the people I serve, and the planet as a whole, ultimately. Or I could shrink back into the fear and just allow that to be the thing that dictates my life. And this is something I'm currently going through because I'm actually going through some training to do teaching for a lot of different people with this high level information, and I need to learn. And I've stepped into that fear for a reason because it's very exciting for me when I think of myself doing that, but there's a lot of fear because of past experiences and whatever else that comes up, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm deciding to leap out the plane anyway because ultimately I know that's where my heart path is, that's where my heart is leading me. And so a lot of times, think about that thing that excites you, but then you start thinking about it a little more and the fear comes up. And in my eyes, it's always good to go towards that. It's always good to move towards that because ultimately, when you face that fear, on the other end is the excitement, the joy, the presence, and everything else. So number one, the last one, we're going to leave with a pretty simple one because we kind of got a little deeper with some of those other ones. But it's just positive confirmations. Positive confirmations, synchronicities that the universe has your back. The universe is working. Maybe you're seeing all of these positive confirmations happen in your life. This is a more obviously positive one. This isn't like lesson based or whatever else. I mean, it can be, but like you're just seeing beautiful things all the time. You're seeing manifestations come in. You're seeing positive confirmations of the universal process. And when you start experiencing that a lot, it's a great sign that your dreams are actually on their way. They're coming close. You're moving closer and closer. And when you start getting into this phase, you should definitely still be learning. There'll be lessons that still come in, but to take note of them and to keep doing what you're doing. Because again, like attracts like. If you have a lot of positive things coming in all the time, that's because you're doing something that's allowing that to come in. And the universe is essentially, through these positive confirmations, telling you, good job, keep it up. You're doing well. You're on the right path. You've probably been in alignment for a while. You're probably going down your heart path. You're facing the fears. You're doing a lot of different things we probably went over, or that we did go over in this video. And so if you're noticing those positive confirmations, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And a little kind of ninja trick here is start writing down your positive confirmations. I have a little notebook where I write down every positive confirmation I can remember to do so. And it's just filled with all of these examples of the universal process working for me, that the universe has my back. And that actually accelerates this. This allows for more to come in. I start noticing it more. And that's a great little tool you can use if that is something you would like to take on board. All right, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. This has been 5 messages that the universe will send you that will help you get to your dreams, that will help you live that fulfilling life. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I believe it's not just about hearing these things, it's about taking action upon them. If any of these resonated with you and you're like, yeah, this is what's going on for me, this is exactly what's happening, it only really will make a difference, or a big difference, I'd say, because you have the awareness, which is good, but a big difference by taking the action you know you need to take. So for example, if the second one, the fear-based one, the one when fear's coming up, if that's the one that resonated with you and you know there's a thing you're afraid of, but ultimately your growth is there, you're not going to get the growth just by hearing this. You're going to get the growth by actually going out and doing the thing. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here with me. As always, you are loved, and I will see you in the next video.